good morning. Can you please introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your nonprofit origin story?
Thank you so much, Tasha. Foundation for Youth Empowerment, FOYE, first registered as a community-based organization, CBO, in 2016. Our vision is to empower Uganda youth through technology. At FOYE, we believe in the power of young people to create a better future for themselves and their community. We are passionate about empowering vulnerable youth with the skills and knowledge they need to thrive. And by providing training and support in technology and STEM skills, FOYE is building a generation of economically independent young leaders in Mbarara, Uganda. Together we can empower youth and create a more sustainable future for them all. Yes, not leaving anyone behind. About the foundation of FOYE, I am the founder of FOYE, Niwagaba Ivan. I was raised by my grandparents, and growing up in rural Uganda, access to digital skills was limited, and tech skills weren't seen as important for youth. I attended schools with minimal resources, no libraries, no labs, and barely any access to technology. Despite my passion for learning, the digital gap was a constant barrier. And when I desperately needed a job, I was turned away, not because I lacked determination, but because I didn't have the basic tech skills required for that job. That rejection opened my eyes to a deeper issue. Many young people from backgrounds like mine are denied equal opportunities to technology and opportunities, of course, keeping them trapped in a cycle of poverty. I founded FOYE with a clear mission to create opportunities for youth in rural Uganda to access education, particularly in technology, STEM, and entrepreneurship. For me, FOYE is more than just an organization, it's a movement to redefine what is possible for our youth. Why the digital divide? In Uganda, nearly 40% of people live in poverty, and only 28% have internet access. The gap is even wider for rural youth, with only 24% having basic digital skills and just 19% having access to technology. This lack of technology hinders education, job opportunities, and access to vital information. Youth in rural areas, especially those from poor families, we talk about teenage mothers, we talk about orphans, refugees, and survivors of abuse, face even more significant barriers to education, job opportunities, and essential resources. So the importance of technology for these youth became even clearer during the COVID-19 pandemic, when schools shut down and much of the world moved online. Many children in rural areas were left behind here in Uganda. They didn't have access to the internet, no devices, or the digital skills needed to continue learning. And that's why FOYE focuses so heavily on technology. We are not only teaching youth the skills to navigate the digital world, we are also giving them the tools to succeed in life. By equipping children with technology and STEM skills, we are preparing them for a future where these abilities will be essential in nearly every field. We hope to give these youth a chance to achieve their dreams, become financially independent, and lead change in their communities.
I always love talking with founders where the story is so personal, right? Of why they've started the nonprofit. They usually have this deep connection to the work, and often that is because of lived experience. So what does it look like in terms of the services offered to youth? How do you get across some of those barriers? Is it a struggle? I'm a parent myself. We were talking about this before our chat a little bit. How do you get around sometimes that generational gap when it comes to digital skills as well?
Yeah, what actually makes us different as FOYE, we are looking at the basic digital skills, what someone may call simple tech skills, but real changing life skills. We look at young people who are using a computer for the very first time in their life. And majority of the young people we work with, that's why we look at rural areas where these are underlooked populations. They do not have electricity, they do not have labs, and yet they need that equalizer in terms of education. They believe that education is an equalizer. We don't have to leave some people behind because of their geographical backgrounds, because they are in rural areas. And that's
Yeah.
why we do that. We carry our computers, take them to a rural school. We partner with a school that gives us children, and we teach them computer, how to use computer things, like opening a computer, shutting it down safely, sending that email confidently. This is what we are doing, and it's so impactful.
Can you tell me what has been one of your favorite things about starting a nonprofit, being in a nonprofit?
All right, something really that has been a favorite piece of my work as a nonprofit founder, the work that we do here in Uganda, is especially about the success stories from our beneficiaries. Every time I meet young people, we started by involving the talents of young people before digital literacy classes. And every time I meet a young person saying, okay, this that you did to me was very impactful today. I have a job. I am using my talent to earn, or maybe I'm using the computer skills I got from FOYE. I have a job right now. I feel impressed. That one fuels me and really impresses me to keep on doing the good work that FOYE does. I'll give you one story, for example, Catherine's story. Catherine is a young girl from Chidongo Cell in a ghetto here in Mbarara City. She came from a ghetto place in Mbarara City and was raised by a single mother. When she came to us, she had never used a computer before. And after entering high school, Catherine was excited to tell us that the free computer lessons she received from FOYE helped her excel in computer exams, and our lessons gave her the confidence, digital skills, and the ability to keep up with peers from more privileged backgrounds who once laughed at her for not knowing how to click a mouse at school. So when we gave her lessons, computer lessons, when she joined high school, she started clicking the mouse like never before, like the other kids from privileged backgrounds. And that was the equalizer that we are talking about. And such stories are my favorite part when it comes to the nonprofit world.
The equalization is enormous, right? Yeah, there's so many that end up with a privilege that you don't realize how far that puts you ahead at each stage, right? Of education in particular. So I love that story. That's fantastic. Thank you for sharing. And what about the challenges of this work? What are you finding to be the most challenging?
The most challenging part in this work is fundraising. I confidently say that because many of us founders of small nonprofits do not have a history of fundraising. You don't know how to ask for money. And this
Yeah,
is the reality. You have to do that if you're a founder in the nonprofit world because, for example, as we heavily depend or rely on donations, and you can't receive donations without sending the asks, without asking for money or even resources. So it's a great challenge that every day I'm learning new things about fundraising, but that wasn't in anything to do with me and my background of fundraising. And it also becomes a problem where you need to hire a team to do fundraising for you, write grants. This is heavy work, and
yeah.
the people who do it need to be paid. And sometimes you don't have the money to pay them, so it's a great challenge. That fundraising is very difficult. It's heavy work in the nonprofit world. Many of us are finding it difficult, but of course we are learning and we love challenges because I came into the nonprofit world to face all challenges and learn from them. Today, I'm learning a lot of things about fundraising, and I can say I'm not all that bad. And besides that, I have a team that I'm working with to make this possible, help us fundraise, and really make it big for the organization, scale our programs, and even make greater impact. Yeah.
Absolutely. Hey, I think I'm in a startup, very small business, still trying to figure this out. And for sure, I think passionate people who are really excited to get out there, make an impact, change the world. It's almost like your brain has to switch gears from very much those you are serving to those who may support what you're doing. And those feel like such different groups that it's real. I find even getting back into thinking about money, it's my brain even struggles with it, right? Like that it's such a different context. And we often forget that fundraising is such a skill. Like it's a very skilled profession. And so many people outside of nonprofit don't think about it that way, right? They don't think about how much skill it requires.
Yeah, it's a skill. If you get someone who's good at fundraising, they are very good at it and they love it. Okay. And you can also learn because I think
Yeah.
I've learned a lot so far for the time I've been around. I've learned a lot in fundraising, meeting different people. It's been one of the most talked about point of every chat I go to. We end up talking about fundraising, so I learn from different people and get a lot of resources that myself and my team are really using to push our work forward.
One of the questions I always ask during these interviews, but how are you finding your peers help you? And you've already talked about it just now, like resource sharing and those types of things. How has peer networking supported your growth as a founder and a nonprofit leader?
Oh, that's great. I've learned so many things from my peers, all the support that I get from the people that I connect with. Connections are very key, very important. I remember last year, my goal was to connect with a lot of people in the nonprofit industry, and I've achieved this goal. I can't thank the Nonprofit Hive team enough because I have connected with so many people who connect me to other people, and beyond that, my goal was to make a lot of connections, having so many people I'm talking to, meeting so many people I'm learning from. So learning from each other, quite often we end up talking about important topics like fundraising, like management, how to scale impact in the nonprofit world. So because I meet people with different specialties, some even share resources. We talked about resources. Someone come out and say, you know what, I think I have a resource that I can share with you. Maybe it's an AI resource that can help you maybe come up with social media content and save your time. So I really love it, learning from each other and that kind of support where someone is not going to ask you to pay for the resources or the support they are giving you. Some people are free to share the knowledge
Yeah.
that maybe consultants would be asking you to pay for. Some people are ready to share with you freely, not think about competition or whatever. So I really love that.
I think there's so much to be gained. I always like to use the example. If you hear about a grant that is very much only focused on rural moms, let's say, right? Isn't it so lovely for you to be able to share that with somebody else who you know that grant would be great for? And if they hear about something that's very youth focused or technology focused, they can share that with you. And I love to see those types of just, it's not even like collaboration because it's not as deep as that. It's just that resource sharing to go, oh, hey, I can do this. Take 5 minutes to send you a quick email saying, hey, I thought of this. And so I think that's the thing we sometimes miss about networking in the nonprofit world that the for profit world does all the time, right? Like you're frequently going, hey, how can I maybe help you so that you then remember to help me someday too, right? And I've always thought that the nonprofit world would be so much stronger if we just had that in the back of our minds more frequently.
Yeah, yeah, that's great.
Yeah. So we looked this up when we first started chatting right before this interview, but you have done 35 Hive conversations since you joined us, which is incredible. So thankful. I love that I'm able to put you in conversations with anyone around the world, and they always have lovely things to say about the conversations with you, Ivan. So I deeply appreciate that. What has been something that you have gotten out of being a member of the Nonprofit Hive?
Okay, being a member of a nonprofit hive, I've really achieved a lot. Maybe having an extended family has been incredible for me because I've met with so many people, like you say, 35 people. That's incredible because I enjoy meeting different people, different causes, different stories, different missions every single week. So I actually enjoy that. If I know that every week I'm going to meet someone new, and I'm going to listen, I'm going to sit back, listen, share stories with this person. So that kind of extended family, amazing people doing amazing work to impact the world positively has been wonderful for me. Now, for me, meeting a new person and hearing their vibe leaves me inspired because even if we are not doing the same things, okay, our mission is not aligned, but just hearing someone, their story, their why, it's amazing because people are doing a lot of things. I've always sat down to hear about someone's cause, and I always want to know the story attached to that. How did that begin? How did that begin? I love that part. It's my favorite part. So, and of course, many of these connections continue after the Hive chat. Yes, I'm in touch with some people, and the conversations are amazing and supportive in so many ways that I can't even imagine because I quite often go back to some of the people I met. If someone said their expertise maybe is in social media or content creation, then I say I go back because we promised each other that we're going to keep in touch. This is very interesting that many people there are willing to share. And I've quite often went back to check out some of the connections with some people and asked them, hi, I remember you talked about content creation, maybe designing graphics. So please tell me what can we do so that we improve our content as a nonprofit so that we tell impactful stories, engaging stories, and blah, 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 blah. And yeah, people get back and we talk. Sometimes we set up another meeting.
That's great. Well, and I think for at least myself, every time I've ended up collaborating with someone else, it's never just from one conversation. That's not enough, right? In nonprofit, we're all very busy, we're doing big work. Finding those spots where maybe a collaboration comes into being often takes some time and some conversations and figuring out whether there's that alignment between two organizations or even two founders and making those plans together. So I love to hear that, Ivan. That makes me as a founder, very happy to hear stories like that.
So after the first Hive chat, I've often gone back to catch up with other people, with the nonprofit members, and I can tell you that I've had several of them. The second chat comes along where maybe you were talking and you realized time wasn't enough. Maybe the stories were mind blowing, and you feel like, okay, we should have another chat and continue our stories because they're amazing. I would love to know what you do. I would love to learn from your work much more. And we end up setting a second meeting and sometimes even a third meeting. And I also talked about the issue of having fellow Ugandans in the nonprofit Hive community where we meet for chats and end up collaborating and meeting up in person. I've met people like Joshua Emmanuel, whom I'm in touch with. We talk often. And you can only imagine because I'm sure at some point, the difference is just the districts. We're in the same country, different districts, but I'm sure at some point maybe is going to be doing a project that stretches to the districts. districts where we serve, and probably a collaboration is going to come through that. So you can only imagine how these meetings can support us as founders and even the work that we do. It's absolutely amazing.
I love that. That's fantastic. And best place to get in touch with you, Ivan, LinkedIn, or is there an email address, website? What's the best way for people to continue to follow along with your work? LinkedIn? Okay, wonderful. Well, this was so fantastic. Thank you so much for doing this with me. Thank you for being a very involved member and just someone who I deeply admire the work that you're doing. And it's so cool to watch all these change makers from all over the world get involved in our community, but then start to support each other and build more locally to where they are.
Thank you so much, Tasha. I'm humbled for this opportunity to share the FOYE story.